Hello one and all, welcome back to more Let's Play Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney. I am the Max Few Trades. Trials and Tribulations is the subtitle, forgot that part. Oh well, gonna keep it in, let's keep going. In the last part, we had ourselves a nice long conversation with Sister Bikini of all people. Because that name is just... in a world full of silly names, that is just a silly name. And in this part, we're going to hopefully unravel more of the mysteries thanks to Larry. Odds are slim, but we're gonna have to do the best we can. Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm not really sure what to say. Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene. All right, I'll help you any way I can. So you say. First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying. Mr. Edgeworth, it's just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple. Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. So what's the haps with that? Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night, were you the one who used the snowmobile? There's only one key to the there's only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me. So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge? With a snowmobile of all things. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, you can't be serious with this noise right now. Come on. Oh, that's a lot of locks. That is a lot, Iris. I can't tell you about that yet. Yet? Not until her safety is confirmed. Her? The safety of the Acolyte. The Acolyte? Maya? She must be talking about Wait. You're holding on to a secret and you can't tell me about it until you know for certain whether or not Maya is okay? What the hell does that all imply? Yo, hold up. Hold up, that implies a lot. Also, for real though, is Maya okay? She's spent more than an entire day over there with, like, absolutely no resources whatsoever. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise and him? No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life. As I thought, no psycholocks. Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough. But the way she worded it was so ambiguous. I both think that this is Dahlia and also think it's not her at all. Court will now reconvene. Miss Von Karma, where is the witness? During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery. No, that definitely sounds like Larry. Suspicious behavior? He was sketching something very intensely. Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained? He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip. I can only presume that his intention was to get my parts. Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Wata! Shishing! Oi, oi, oi. Loris Dunham, I hope you're ready to get in here. It would seem that whip is going to see plenty more use today. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, these two have never even met each other. Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey, I was just artistically rendering my other thing. Why? You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look, I'm nothing but a fledgling artist, training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use the technical term for the color, viridian. The technical terms are for nerds and fools. Take that from somebody who actually draws things rather often. Shut up, it's just green. Larry, this isn't an art store, now is it? I know, I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it? Working in the fields? I presume he wanted to say field work. I hope. That's it. Thanks, buddy. kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. It just means you're really good at it, Edgeworth. As much as it probably doesn't feel like it, you should think of it as a good thing. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. Well, I mean, ultimately, no matter how you look at it, that is a compliment. Von Karma is beautiful. Whether or not her personality is exactly pristine is besides the point. She is attractive. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trial, at all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or, to use the technical term, Crimson Lake. Just say Crimson, okay? Look, you want to say it's a crimson color? Fine. But don't say Crimson Lake. Ah, my parts! Ah! Why was I hit? Stop your pathetic blabbing and testify like a man. Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. And I think that's a hockey reference, because he's Canadian, eh? Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now. This is too much for me, and my dumb hat. What he saw. I was at the lodge out in the mountains, looking up at the stars the night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I edgy? Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers during your testimony. I'm just a nobody. Nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? I mean, he's not wrong. Why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation, or anything else? Because we already know who you are and you don't have a job. Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex. Well, to be fair, he is in general kind of worthless as a human. He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. Over the course of 2 years, in fact. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people. Yeah, that's right. I'm behind everything, every case. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you eternally unhappy. I mean, probably, but that's not really the point. Well then, let us proceed with the cross-examination. With no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. The wealth of your intense uselessness is not really what's being discussed right now. All right, so right out the gate, even if it's not necessary to anything, I can't help but know that, well, everything about this sentence is wrong. Dot, dot, dot. Whatever's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? This one single statement is so full of contradictions. For a moment there, I thought I was going to collapse. So, witness, any idea as to where these contradictions in your testimony lie? Depending on your answer, I may stay my whip. Okay, give me a minute. Well, it was snowing that night, so I couldn't possibly have seen the stars. Yes. That rundown shack is hardly a lodge, is it? Indeed. And even if the stars could be seen, it isn't like I was there to look at them, right? Poor Edgeworth. See? You can do it if you try. There's only one issue here. What you saw at Dusky Bridge. I'm sorry, but I just had to point that out. All right, might as well hear a little bit. I already know what I gotta do. A number of times. How many? Maybe 5 times? I went once every 20 minutes. Which means you spent almost 2 hours at Heavenly Hall that night. You bet. Real love is about waiting with your heart in your hands. I would suggest putting it back in your body. That's kind of important. Love, you say? It was this man's intention to summon the defendant to the small shack. God only knows what he was up to, using this blackmail letter. But blackmail? No, that was simply a product of overflowing. I've got my parts! You huffy, puffy, loosey-goosey excuse of a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness. My God, Von Karma, if you ever decide to retire from prosecuting, you'd do freaking amazing doing Dr. Seuss-esque books. So, what did you see? Oh, for your sake, you saw a snowmobile. You huffy, puffy, and loosey-goosey excuse for a whimpering, whining wuss of a witness, eh? Well, you see, being called those names doesn't seem to bother him at all. Probably because deep in his heart and soul, he knows that it's the fact. Anyway, I didn't see a snowmobile. Why are you stuttering like a fool? Larry, you really didn't see it? Hey, don't need to hit your desk, I can hear you. I didn't see it. I didn't see a snowmobile. Larry, say snowmobile for me, please. Snowmobile. If you truly have nothing to hide, then why are you stammering like you just flew over a cuckoo's nest? Shut up! What is this? I don't know, don't ask me. It seems that I'll need to start from a more obvious contradiction. I'm going to strike the blow that will finally get him to spill the beans. Hopefully they are garbanzo. And definitely not Lima. Anyway, you didn't see anyone at the bridge that night, huh? Even Phoenix? You know, he was kind of important.
Objection!
Feel the full wrath of my British styles. Larry Butts, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. It was pretty much useless and pointless all around. You're pretty pathetic, and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry. But, having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me? Not entirely. I would say he's not trying to be outwardly offensive towards you, but I also don't think it's a nice thing either. It certainly doesn't sound that way to me. However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create. Ah, you're totally pinning this on me. Only your faults. Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder took place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual. Ah, you Larry Butts! That's right, me, in the flesh. Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you'll continue to cause these incidents. The reality will not change. But what do you want me to do then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue is all I need from you. Angie, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well. Whatever, just make your attempt. I'll ask again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder? And this time, actually give us some friggin' information. I mean, if he actually wants to try and be a better person, that's good, but I just don't know if he's capable of it. He's Larry. I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. Indeed he did. I looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. And that's when I ran into Nick. Okay, well, I already know something I want to ask. You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you? So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? I suppose I really should be trying to give her an accent. It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burnt out. Like, almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what caused Nick to fall. What did you say? Am I being overly optimistic and thinking she might actually be mildly concerned? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening. You just caught a cold. I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky. She was a little worried. Aw, that's cute. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please commence your cross-examination. And so I shall. Even Von Karma's gotten some character development. That's lovely. All right, so first things first, I want to talk about, I want the sounds and the times. The sounds, that didn't really make any sense. I want to know the specific numbers. What did you do out there in the cold for an hour and a half? Well, if you really must know, I was busy being excited, I guess. Excited? Dare I even ask? That could be taken wrong. Might I suggest phrasing? I set the meeting time at 10 p.m., right? But I couldn't wait. And I thought she might come early, too. Well, it appears she didn't come at all in the end. Because they never arranged to meet in the first place, did they? Shut up! Don't go picking my fond memories apart! Anyway, I was getting a little worried. I thought maybe Iris had lost her way, so every 20 minutes or so, I went out to the bridge. But I didn't see anything particularly suspicious. I didn't have anything else to do, so I went back to the shack to wait for her. Fair and fair. Alright. That stuff's not entirely necessary. There was still some thunder. Okay. You have like a time frame on that, maybe? You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that? Lightning fell, and then the bridge caught on fire. Maybe around 5 minutes? I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out. How far is this small shack you were in from the bridge? Hold on. Well, it had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk? And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, should I press him for a little more info? Not right now. Why didn't you call anyone? Why did you go to the bridge? Well, why, yeah. Why not? Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There's a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that. Hello, so then, let's hear why you didn't. Yeah, oh, okay, a reason. My reason. It isn't that I didn't try to tell anyone, I just didn't have time to, okay? Have a figure. We're after the bridge and Nick showed up less than a minute later. Oh. Okay, except I don't think that works, does it? Hang on, let me see something. Where's that thingamabobbo? Around 10:45, around 30 minutes past. Stuff of that general nature. Yeah, considering all the information we have, that shouldn't be possible, so I optimistically say, objection! Music stopped, I'm feeling good. Your very existence being a contradiction, I'm not sure if you grasp this or not. But hey, Edgy, you makes me sound like some sort of alien. I mean, with that face, you kind of look like one. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. Conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. I mean, that's relatable, but not the point. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is this correct? Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusty Bridge? Meaning you probably got there at around 11. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act. Okay, first of all, rude, he could have died. Smug. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There's no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me. I have an objection. You do? Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry. Nobody cares. It has not yet, it has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11, in which case it could have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Miss Francisca von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. And why not? It is clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn down. So what you got to say about that, Jack? Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m. Which means what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m., but Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. And I suggest you to stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during those missing 15 minutes? Ugh. I feel like I just got brutally woken up by toilet splashback. Ew! That's relatable, but ew. I guess I was still sleeping after all. Pinch me. Oh, Larry. Even when you try— Ow, my everything! So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there's a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the incident? Yeah, witness, why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn? Much like an evil clown? And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. Ah, but this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid. At least I hope to God. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy. I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought, you've been playing with us all this time. Listen, I'm gonna tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes. I may really say it this time. My every part. Then say it. Enough with the beat bushing and the bosh bushing. Come on now. Very well. I have a terribly bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness? Explain to this very court. For once in your miserable existence, be serious. I'm a denim. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching, in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out, and then he came running up. I suppose artists can be strange folks. That's right. I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch. Including the truth from the sound of it. Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts? Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains. And what would that be? This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. Why lie? You'll regret this, Edgy. That's an ominous thing to say, if I'm being completely candid. Alright. Interesting. So, I wonder if there's a way to maybe... Well, might as well. Let's hold it. Let's talk about it. Sketching the burning bridge. The burning bridge and everything that came with it. What? Came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this. That sketch of mine is... Ah! Why, though? I was talking. Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness. I'm not great at the accent, but I'm doing my best. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Ah, shut your butt. That doesn't indeed appear to be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth. What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what is depicted there. Well, obviously we've got to see it. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please. Well. Even I couldn't have imagined it'd turn out like this. Imagined what? Laurice Denham's debut would take place here today like this. Ow! Show it! Now! Okay! But steel yourselves. This is the world of Laurice Denham. Interesting. Triple reaction! Well. So this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Gamma? Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected. That much is at least very clear. I like the use of colors. Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames, I really did. Yes, I'm sure you did. And there's a lot of awkward silence going. This is going to get ugly. So, what exactly is above everything there? No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry? What? The burning bridge is fine, but what is that unfortunate-looking figure? Ah, you spotted that. I thought you might. However much I might not want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course. Iris. Would she take better care of herself? We have to plan for our future, you know. What had happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that? God bloody damn it. Larry, please, answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist. Darn you! God, this girl, she really high up in this picture. Good Christy almighty. The audience doesn't even know what to make of this, but why? What was that for? This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test the theory. Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly. Actually, there is some precedent for this. To be fair, it has. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring this witness back down to earth. What? Me? This witness is your friend, is he not? I mean, legally, I guess. Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth. Let's get back to the cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honor. My goodness. This entire situation is pretty ridiculous. Let's just throw that out there. Okay, very well. If that's what we gotta do, then that's what we're gonna have to do. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron. Well, what did you think of my debut piece? I mean, for what it's worth, it's a good drawing. I'm not gonna say it's not. Get that thing away from me! Horrible sketch of what we saw the night of the crime. Hurry up and cross-examine him. All right. So, did that perhaps add any information to me? No, it did. All right, well then bada bing, bada boom. That was easy as all gotta boom. Objection! Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that it's the truth. Well, I do need $1. If that is truly the case, there's one thing that we can say for certain. What might that be? That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant, Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Why, though? I didn't even do anything. Here we go. A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolish, foolhardy fool. How, exactly, can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course he was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. But the pain! It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench. Smug, smug, smug. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight? Because I won't lie, that would be pretty freaking sweet. Let's be real, I'm okay with that. What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Hey, gee, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why, you Nick, you dog! Not even remotely what's going on right now. I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded, straight into the garbage. What is it now, witness? It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today is the day I get to completely stupefy you. Oh, what? What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence. Definitive? Evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge. And I, Laurice Denham, shall prove it! Didn't expect this again. And we shall be needing your testimony once again. For the 50th time. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch. And show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality. Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy. Because I'm gonna feed you a whopping serving of pain. You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me. Look at the scorn, the disdain, the hatred. Proof that Iris flew. Here we go. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched for all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. Well, there's the orb attached to, Elise's staff. That's good. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. Okay, well, luckily for me, it's actually rather easy to be able to figure this one all out. Crystal sphere? This one. Pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers. That sphere. Where did you find it? That's actually really important information. Let me see. Around here somewhere? Looks about right. Oh, so really freaking far away from Hazakura Temple, huh? Well, there's a contradiction right out the get-go. It was half buried in the snow. And it pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. The court accepts his crystal sphere. That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward. There's something on it. Yeah, that's pretty clearly blood. Considering it was, very close to the person who was murdered. Who was apparently murdered considerably farther away if her staff broke all the way over by the bridge. Oh my, it's blood. What? Blood? Yep, that's a handy-dandy information. You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Laurice Denim only a few minutes ago? Look, if you're trying to get Larry to get his story straight, well, that's your first, second, third, and 18th problem. Alright, so should I press, or should I simply just go straight for the jugular? Alright, well, I can press at least a couple things. Half buried. It was sitting in the snow with a little gathered on top of it. It was very hard to spot, actually. I mean, it was dark out, too. I'm impressed. You did well to find it. No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro, a genius security guard. And I used a pen light I borrowed from my company to help in my search. And it sparkled really brightly, as if it was saying, "Here I am," to me. It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere on Iris's hood, although it's obviously not. But need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night? I'm sure she was just wearing a spare hood. I mean, after all, nobody else could have lost it. Really? Not even this? Actually, hang on. Wait, I feel like there's actually a lot of things I could show. But I think the staff might actually be the best possible option, so let's just hope for the best and say, objection! Bada bing. Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who is this stupid idiot? Dude. Miss Elise Denim, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. Check this noise out. Admittedly, her hair is inexplicably brown instead of the black that she was earlier, but whatever. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey, that's my photograph. Give it back. No! You get enough sourcing. A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. Yours is blue and much more angular. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah, the crystal sphere. It's gone. Where's it gone, man? What? What? Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris, after all. She was not wearing a hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. Okay, so it was Elise who was flying? What kind of sense does that make? That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Denim. Ta-ta! Shishing! Whew. A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that. I saw it with my own two, and you've knocked one of my eyes out. And this crystal sphere. There's nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Dunham was in her room on the night of the murder. There were no reasons for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That's all. You okay, but no. Miss Franziska von Karma. The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of the murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case? That crystal sphere. It was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There's blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. Hey, wait a minute, you're criticizing me. What? You mean I'm the killer? Ah, why though? That was my other eye. Oh, joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe that it's related to the case. God, why must you always be this way, Von Karma? I mean, yeah, okay, fair, but still, she makes a valid point. There's no evidence that Elise Dunham had left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. So be it. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere. If it's not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. And I don't much care for all that about cha-ching! Very well. I suppose that's just going to have to do, I suppose. Here we go. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? I'm gonna say yes. I'm going to say yes. I don't really know, but I'm gonna go ahead and hope for the best on that one. Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this, and he's the greatest of us all. I must emulate! Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case. You will do what now? That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered. Yeah, and you should also be aware of the fact that every time he is cornered, he ultimately pulls things around and completely makes you look like a fool, you fool. That should come as no surprise. Because right now, I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. Aren't we all Phoenix Wright? Maybe the real Phoenix Wright is the friends we made along the way. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. Well, the only thing I can possibly think of is the fact that it was kind of buried in the snow. So, did this say that it was buried in the snow? Found half covered in snow. So, yeah. Jay was murdered after the snow stopped falling. So, this must have happened before anyone died. Take that! Take that! Ta-ta! This crystal sphere, it was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, then it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing? On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As you can see, as proven earlier today, there's no snow on the victim's body. So, checkmate, nerd. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ah, slam jam. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. And this triumphant music says I did the right thing. You better believe, Franziska. Order, order, order. No, I will have 2 orders of fries. On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose. What could that have been? I don't friggin' know. The sphere. There's some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. Bada bing, bada boom. The murder didn't take place in Hazakura Temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. And yet you can't say I'm wrong, can ya? Just who is the fool? And which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Wata? Shashing! Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Smug. That's not exactly true now, is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. That's the same thing! No, it isn't! He just hit me with the no you card! You said it yourself! Very little blood is actually lost. At the moment of a blade's insertion, if you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could have very easily been the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus, there was no bleeding. What do you gotta say about that? You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. The fact that I can't keep my accent consistent. Elise Nedem's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I mean, I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible. Perfectly plausible in this patrician. Parsnips. Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method of which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple. Well, I can only assume... I don't have the snowmobile. Crap. Tracks photo. Take that. It's the only thing that possibly could be true. On that snowy night, there's one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon. But it could have been used to carry a body. So what about that? Surely that makes some sense to some people somewhere. Son of a... This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave. What do you mean? The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? No, sir. Smug. You're too late, Franziska Von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation. What? Where was the victim? Where was the victim? Elise Denim really killed. If a body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean? Ow, my parts! Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it. And yet here we are. The witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Edgy. Thank you. Bam, shamalama. That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. And thus you were defeated. Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought. Franziska Von Karma, you make a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There was one reason, and one alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. Then I wouldn't have had Franny whipping me. Oh, God, that was never not going to happen. Miles Edgeworth, I don't care what you were here to do. This is my chance to finally grind you under my heel. Yeah, well, you blew it. So what do you want from me? A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame. But why, Franzi? This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. Bang, bang. You are in the front to all the legal system. Bracken, soda, Kraken. I demand satisfaction. And thus Larry was killed that day. Goodbye, Larry. You will not be missed. Cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer to the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I'm counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution. And with this, the rest is up to you, right? Aw, do I not get to be Phoenix? Do I not get to be Edgeworth anymore? Don't get me wrong, I love being Phoenix, and I'm glad he's okay enough to do it, but this was really cool. Court is now adjourned. Whew, my. Well, I think we can all definitively agree on one thing. Maybe not all things, but on one thing specifically. Being Edgeworth was freaking awesome. And in the next part, I guess we're back to investigating. This time back is right. I mean, it makes sense that he would ultimately come back to this whole thing. He obviously has a very, strong personal investment in everything, so obviously it not working, him not being the attorney here would be weird. It's also the final case in what is, I've been told, even though there are sequels, basically the end of a trilogy. So, yeah, of course he was going to end up being the defense attorney again. But still, regardless, I appreciate the fact that we were allowed to play as Edgeworth for a while. It was nice to see him again, nice to see his character development, and to see his internal thoughts. That all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.